Hey everybody, welcome back to GWN. I am Noctair, your host. So today I thought maybe we'd talk a little bit about air superiority in the 4000s. That's right. Down in the, in the upper 4000s is where most of us are playing right now, but we'll just say the 4000s in general. The bases that you tend to run into are certainly not maxed, and a lot of players are running right around level 5, 6 on their new air defense, typically still running level 8 on their regular air defenses, and they haven't done a whole lot of upgrades. A lot of players focusing on getting their point defenses done for some reason. I'm really not quite sure why. I guess because they're the least expensive on the board. But when you think about it, knowing the kinds of attacks that are out there, I would focus on air first. And that's what I said in my Builder Hall 9 upgrade video as well. But on both my KBN, Kusva Nacht game, as well as my Hair Nacht game, I've been running almost exclusively with Minion Drops, or Shimi, whichever way you want to call it. And here I got a replay from my KBN game, but I've had a lot of success in that 4700 to 4900 trophy range running this strat. Every once in a while I'll bomb on it, but it's more because I'm probably not paying close enough attention to the base than anything else. Most of the time, it's about a 75% 2-star, lots of 85, 90% 2-stars, and a fair number of 3-stars, believe it or not, running the strat. Now, I asked the guys over at Oz Builders, what are you guys seeing down there? What are we seeing in the 4000s? And they did not disappoint, as always. Here we have A.W. Pinio, who has got a Sidewinder he's going up against, and I'll tell you, this strat works really well against these Sidewinder bases. There's another one that works well against Drop Mitch or Shwimi that I'm going to show you at the end of the video, but I really like using this against these Sidewinders. They're just, I guess it's the way they're kind of spread that makes it work so well. I don't know why, it just does. And here we see AWP's a little crazy with the way he runs it. He drops the entire thing right at the outset of the attack, and I've seen several of his attacks where he's done this, and it works. I would think he'd run into a little bit of problem if he dropped those beta minions first, which he does sometimes, because a lot of times players will put mega mines all along the most common dropping edge, but it doesn't matter. More often than not, you're going to go the other way and bring in your drop ships first, and that's what he does here. Drops it all, works his way through, and he has basically 90% of the base gone before the battle machine even comes in and starts to do his thing. So battle machine runs clean up and just picks up a few last straggler buildings at the end to pull out the 3-star on this. And I see this in a lot of these replays, players that are holding back on the battle machine. It's kind of an old tactic. We did that back at Builder Hall 7 when we first got the drop ships, and I used to do this a lot when I was just running mass beta minion, which is something, by the way, that Fid absolutely swears by. Okay, here's Edie running another one. Notice his bracket base where he's coming from. He's coming from the end furthest away from the builder hall. Now, there's a lot of sound reasoning to this. If you think about this for a minute, where are the bulk of the air targeting defenses in this base layout? They're at the far end, aren't they? You don't have a whole lot of air targeting defenses down around the builder hall. Yeah, you've got the air bombs and, of course, the roasters down there, and even the Mega Tesla. So, I mean, there's stuff down there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there isn't anything. But the real devastating defenses, the ones that really take out your beta minions, they're almost all in that other half of the base. So if you drop your balloons, your drop ships in, let them do a pretty good job of tanking down through half to 3/4 of the base, your beta minions live really far down toward the end, and before you know it, you've actually gotten, again, 85 to 90% of the base gone. Often you'll manage to grab the builder hall along the way, so you've got a good solid high 2-star, and then if you're holding back on your battle machine, which again, lots of these guys are doing, he comes in and he does the cleanup work. It takes out the last 4, 5, 6 buildings, and you end up walking away with a solid 3-star to really secure that win. Most of what I'm seeing in the 4,800 to 5,200 trophy range, you really need to be in the 70s with a 2-star to get a good solid win. The 50s, yeah, man, I'd say I don't even think I win 50% when I have a bad attack and end up with a say a 55 or 54-2 or something like that. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. And even when I get in the 60s, it's just not a good, strong winning point to be at. It seems to be that right now, 70 to 75% is the place you want to be. And that's, of course, because of the offense-centric nature of the game right now, you know. Now, here's one I've got from Ed, and this is one of two. He's running a Shwimi, which is a combination of Night Witches with the typical Minion Drop Shimi type of attack strategy. And what I love about this, it especially works well on longer bases, but really with the right kind of layout, it'll work on just about anything. The bats go in and will largely act as the distraction for a bunch of the air defenses. So they actually tank for the tanks, the dropships. They will keep your dropships alive longer. And then as the dropships do finally start to go down, because, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of air defense, they will continue to tank on behalf of the beta minions, because things will target them instead of your beta minions. And you can see right here in this replay what I'm talking about. I mean, look at all those bats that are still alive. The last night, which literally just went down, and they're still in there just throttling defenses, including air defenses. And we've got how many beta minions left over? I mean, it's like, what, half the pack right there, I think there is? So that's the strength of this particular attack strategy. You've got so much going on with both damage and distraction that it's able to just plow through a base. Now, here's one that's a little bit longer. Takes a little bit more time for the troops to work their way through. But still, exact same thing. We're going to see the Night Witches dropped up in the top corner there, up the northernmost corner, if you will. And the bats are going to take that long run down into the base and just keep on doing more and more damage as the Night Witches work their way closer to the base, but it takes them a little while to get down there as well, because obviously they're up at the top. A lot of times, players, when they run this attack strategy, will start off by clearing buildings around the outer edges. And I recommend that. I recommend that a lot, because if you can clear some of those buildings out of the way, that'll allow the other troops to penetrate more deeply into the base more quickly and keep them kind of focused towards the middle. Plus, it grabs some additional points. So if you can clear those sides, then your troops are less likely to work their way around to the sides. If you can clear the stuff at the bottom, then you get some additional destruction points right off the bat. Because, I mean, let's be honest, nobody actually expects to get a 3-star going into these. You're trying for it, but you're not actually saying, oh yeah, I'm going to definitely get one. And you can see how that works out in here. By the time the Night Witches finally work their way up to the base itself, there's just a ton of the base gone. All that stuff around the outside up at the top is it's history. And the bats are distracting some of the air defenses in the middle there. You see that? As they do that, once again, those beta minions just plow right into it. I've got to say that the Night Witch is probably the best support and companion troop for the beta minions in the entire game. You can run your hog gliders with them as well, replacing, say, maybe one camp of dropships with hog gliders, and then target them at something like maybe the air bombs, for example. But nothing complements the beta minions as well as the Night Witch. And in some cases, depending upon the base, you can actually run beta minions and Night Witches alone in what's called a Mitch attack. And that will also work really very well, especially on these sidewinders, these longer bases where they can get that nice long run up into the base to allow the bats time to do their damage. So thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Hope you found it enjoyable. Comments, questions down below. And I will be back in another couple days with yet another Clash of Clans video. Y'all take care and keep on clashing. Bye now.